Today, we're diving into what is, without a doubt, one of the most critical skills you can have in any organization, mastering high-stakes communication. We're going to break down how to really engage with senior leadership to get things done, and, just as important, how to lead with absolute clarity when a crisis hits.
So, imagine this. You finally get that 5 minutes alone with the CEO. The door shuts. This is it. This is your shot to get that project approved, to lock down that budget, or to solve a problem that's been nagging everyone. What you say right then, and just as importantly, how you say it, well, that can literally define your career. This is where strategic communication stops being a soft skill and becomes your most powerful tool.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to decode the C-Level Mindset. Then, we'll build a super practical structure for your pitches. After that, we'll shift gears into crisis leadership, apply everything to a real-world case study, and wrap up with the core traits that make you the person they can't do without.
Look, to communicate effectively with anyone, you have to understand your audience. And senior leaders, they operate under a really unique set of pressures and priorities. The best way to think about it is like learning their operating system. Before you can speak their language, you've got to understand how they process information.
This is probably the single biggest mental shift you need to make. Leaders are measured on outcomes, not on effort. They have almost no time and are under huge pressure to deliver results. So talking about how many hours you put in, or walking them through every single step of your complicated process, it's just not relevant to them. They need to know one thing. What was the result? What did we achieve?
Pretty much every single executive decision gets filtered through these three pillars. Speed, how fast can we do this and get to market? Profit, does this make us money or save us money? And risk, how does this expose us to damage, financially, legally, or to our reputation? And what are we doing about it? If your conversation doesn't touch on at least one of these, it's probably not on their radar.
Okay, so understanding the mindset is step one. Now for step two, actually applying it. Let's build a framework for a pitch that's designed to get a yes, because it's built around the business's goals, not just what your department needs.
Think of this slide as your secret decoder ring. It's all about translating your functional language into the universal language of business. You see, you're not asking for a training course, you're proposing a way to cut customer complaints. You're not just reporting low morale, you're identifying a retention risk that puts key projects in jeopardy. It's all about translating your needs into their language. Outcomes, risk, and return on investment.
This simple four-step formula keeps your pitch tight and impactful. You start with the hook. Grab their attention by framing the problem in dollars and cents. Hey, these product defects are costing us $2 million a month. Then you offer the high-level solution. I propose we restructure our quality control process. Back it up with evidence, connecting it directly to a company goal, like the Year of Quality initiative. And finally, you make a crystal clear ask. I need your approval on this budget so we can start next Monday.
And really, this one sentence says it all. This is the heart of all effective upward communication. Yeah, your proposal might be about getting what you want, but your presentation has to be 100% about what they care about, solving their problems, hitting their targets, and reducing their risks.
All right, let's pivot a bit. We're moving from proactive pitching to reactive leadership. A crisis, a data breach, a product recall, a huge internal issue. This is the ultimate test of a leader's communication skills. Your ability to manage the narrative can be the difference between a full recovery and a complete disaster.
The single biggest mistake companies make in a crisis is waiting. They wait to see how bad it'll get, they wait for the media to report on it, or they wait until they have every single answer. That is a losing strategy, every time. By speaking first, you control the story. You become the source of truth, and you stop rumors and speculation from filling that vacuum.
So you're probably thinking, but how can I speak first if I don't have all the information? Well, you use the transparency technique. You build trust not by pretending you know everything, but by being honest about what you don't. You clearly separate what are the confirmed facts from what's still being investigated. This shows both integrity and that you are in control.
So, a really solid crisis message has these 4 layers. First, just state the hard facts, no sugarcoating. Second, be transparent using that knowns versus unknowns technique. Third, manage expectations. Acknowledge the potential worst-case scenario so there are no surprises later. And finally, and this is so critical for your team, you have to answer their unspoken question head-on. How does this affect me and my job?
Okay, theory is great, but let's see how this all plays out in a really high-stakes situation.
we're going to look at a case called Project Phoenix, where a confidential layoff plan gets leaked and triggers a massive morale crisis across the whole company. And here's how fast it can all fall apart. On day 1, leadership is just discussing a 20% staff reduction. By day 2, there's a partial leak. By day 3, that rumor has mutated into a crazy catastrophic lie, that half the company is getting fired with no pay. And by day 4, the real damage starts. Your best people, the ones who have options, they start resigning. The company is in a nosedive.
Now imagine you're the manager trying to solve this. Your first emotional instinct might be to run in and say, "Everyone's panicking, we have to stop this." But that appeal is almost guaranteed to fail. Why? Because the CEO is focused on the financial reality that made the layoffs necessary in the first place. That approach is about your problem, not theirs.
Now, compare that to the strategic approach. You frame the problem in their language. It's not about panic, it's about business risk. Our top talent is leaving, and that's threatening our key digital transformation project. Boom. You've just linked the morale issue to a business outcome they deeply care about, and that gives you the opening to offer a clear recommendation.
So, with the CEO's buy-in, the solution goes into action. A town hall is called immediately. Using that crisis communication framework, they address the facts head-on. They use the knowns versus unknowns model perfectly. They confirm the restructure, they correct the number from 50% down to the real 20%, that's what is known, and they commit to a timeline for more details, which addresses what's still unknown. That single move starts to restore control and rebuild trust.
So, we've covered pitching, and we've covered crisis management. But to become that truly indispensable advisor, the person they have to have in the room, it goes beyond just techniques. It's about embodying certain qualities that build real long-term respect and influence. So how do you earn that seat at the table? Credibility isn't something you're just given. You have to earn it. And you earn it by being a problem solver, not just a problem spotter. Never, ever walk into a leader's office just to drop a problem on their desk. Always show up with the problem, your analysis of the solutions, and a clear recommendation. It shows ownership and strategic thinking. Integrity is the bedrock of all trust. It's having the guts to deliver bad news early and honestly. It's also having the discipline to never guess when they ask you for data you don't have. It is so much better to say, "I need to confirm that number and I'll get right back to you," than to guess and risk them making a bad decision.
And finally, composure. You have to be the calm in the storm. When everyone else is panicking, your steady hand shows that you are in control of the process, even if you can't control the event itself. It means you welcome the tough questions and challenges instead of getting defensive, and that signals true leadership.
This little mantra really sums up our entire philosophy here. Be brief, respect their time, get to the point. Be bright, translate your ideas into their language of speed, profit, and risk, and back it up with data. And be gone. That means you end with a clear ask, because you've already built the credibility to get it. So, as we wrap this up, I want you to think about this. Using the frameworks we've talked about today, from the C-level mindset to leading with integrity, what is the next high-stakes conversation that you need to lead? And how are you going to approach it differently now?